Eastern Strait of Hormuz, 18 kilometers southeast of Qeshm Island. At 5:20 in the morning, 72 U.S. Army Rangers from the 75th Ranger Regiment were moving toward Larak Island in 6 MH-60 helicopters and 4 combat boats, while 8 U.S. Air Force A-10 Warthogs from the 75th Fighter Squadron waited outside the radar screen. On the island, 214 Iranian forces defended a coastal missile command bunker, 12 anti-ship missiles, 6 fast attack boats, and the radar that guided them. The joint force had 102 minutes to break the site and reopen the Strait of Hormuz. This site mattered because it linked missile batteries, patrol boats, and shore radar across the narrowest part of the strait. Tankers had already turned back twice. Iran believed this island could stop shipping with one order. The bunker sat under 4 m of concrete. The outer ring had 3 Zu-23-2 guns, 8 DSHK heavy machine guns, 11 trench lines, and 2 reserve platoons with AK-74 rifles, PKM machine guns, and RPG-7 launchers. Iranian forces thought the island could not be hit fast enough. Cliffs blocked a lowboat approach. Radar on Qeshm and Bandar Abbas watched the air. 6 fast attack boats sat fueled, music, at the pier. A buried fiber line ran from the radar hill to the command bunker. If the bunker stayed alive for even 30 minutes, missiles could reach every major ship in the lane. Alpha Element had 24 Rangers and the first 2 A-10s. They would take the radar hill and destroy the Zu-23-2 guns. Bravo Element had 18 Rangers, 2 A-10s, and the 4 combat boats. They would hit the pier, destroy the fast boats, and block the seaside road. Charlie Element had 18 Rangers and 2 A-10s. They would breach the bunker entrances with C4 and shaped charges. Delta Element had 12 Rangers and the last 2 A-10s. They would cut the eastern road, mark targets, and hold the extraction zone. At 5:28 the assault began. A destroyer south of Oman launched 4 BGM-109 Tomahawks at the radar relay on Qeshm. 4 seconds later, the first MH-60s crossed the coast. The combat boats came in from the south. The A-10s dropped to low altitude and split wide. Alpha hit the west slope. Bravo slammed into the pier. Charlie landed beside the bunker cut. Delta moved east and set up M240B machine guns over the road. Iranian forces reacted in pieces. The Qeshm relay died first. Their west radar stayed up for 19 more seconds. That was enough time to trigger sirens but not enough time to form a defense. 2 Zu-23-2 crews turned late. Alpha marked them with infrared strobes. The first A-10 pair fired AGM-114 Hellfire missiles. Both gun pits exploded. Bravo Rangers rushed the pier sheds and killed 9 Iranian forces before they could pull their AK-74s from the racks. At 5:30, Alpha pushed up the hill. Iranian forces fired PKM bursts from the first trench. Rangers answered with M4A1 SOP-Mod rifles and 1 Mk48 Mod 0. The trench held for 40 seconds. Then a Carl Gustav M3 round hit the corner bunker. Alpha crossed the trench and kept moving. On the pier, Bravo found 2 fast boats already starting engines. An A-10 rolled in low. Its 30mm burst tore through both hulls. Fuel caught fire. Bravo placed thermite on missile crates stacked near the ramp. Charlie hit the bunker cut and took the hardest fire. 2 DSHK guns covered the main door. Rangers with Mk18 CQBR carbines dropped flat behind a concrete curb. A shaped charge hit the first gun shield. The second DSHK kept firing. Delta marked it. The second A-10 pair dropped a GBU-31 JDM. The blast crushed the gun nest, broke the blast wall, and threw dust over the whole south face. Charlie ran through the gap before Iranian forces inside could reset. 8 minutes into the operation, the fight split into 4 battles. Alpha reached the radar tower and found 14 Iranian forces around the control cabin. 2 had RPG-7 launchers. 1 rocket missed wide. The second hit rock below the ridge. Alpha put M249 SAW fire into the sandbag ring. A Ranger team planted C4 on the tower base. The charge cut the legs out from under it. The tower fell across the switchback road and blocked the reserve platoon coming up from the east. Bravo cleared the pier sheds 1 room at a time while Iranian forces in the fuel office fought hard with AK-74 rifles and 1 PKM. A Ranger tossed a flash charge through the window. Bravo stormed the doorway. 11 Iranian forces went down inside that room. Outside, the last 4 fast attack boats tried to leave the pier. The third A-10 pair came in from the sea. 1 boat took a hellfire and sank beside the breakwater. 2 more burned at the moorings. The fourth broke east for 600 m before Bravo hit it with a Javelin missile from the pier roof. At 5:32, Charlie reached the inner blast door. It was sealed with a locking bar. A breacher set a linear charge across the hinges and detonated it. The door blew inward. Charlie moved through smoke and broken cable. Iranian forces fired from the first hall with AK-74s and 2 RPG-7 launchers. The hall was tight. The Rangers used short bursts. One Mk-18 team cut left. Another team threw 2 grenades right. 30 seconds later, the first corridor was clear. Delta had the widest view of the whole island. From the east road, Delta saw pickup trucks rushing from a secondary camp 2 kilometers away. Their spotter sent the grid. The 4th A-10 pair answered at once. 2 rockets hit the lead truck. Then a long gun pass tore through the second and third. Delta finished the survivors with M4A1 fire. By then, Iranian forces on the island knew this was not a raid on one point. It was a full break of the command site. At 5:35, Alpha turned south and fired down into the second trench line. Iranian forces tried to regroup around one Zu-23-2 that had not been hit. The crew got off 12 rounds. Then Alpha's Mk-11 Mod 0 sniper rifle killed the gunner. A second shot dropped the loader. The Rangers took the trench, counted 23 dead Iranian forces on the ridge, and cut the fiber line running into the bunker. That one cut mattered. Missile launchers outside the island lost target data at once. Bravo shifted from the pier to the boat pens. The gates were chained. A Ranger slapped C4 on the lock and blew it. Inside, 17 Iranian forces were stacking rockets and fuel cans for a counterattack. Bravo put M240 fire across the pen. 2 Rangers moved right. One threw a grenade behind the skiff rack. The blast killed 4. The rest tried to pull back to the seawall, and an A-10 burst walked across the wall and stopped them there. 14 minutes into the operation, Charlie reached the command room. The bunker still had power from an emergency generator, where 2 Iranian officers and 19 guards defended the room behind steel desks and sand-filled crates. Charlie used the broken wall from the JDM strike as a second entry point. One team pushed front. Another team came through the side opening. Iranian forces fired hard for 2 minutes. Then a Ranger shoved thermite into the server rack, and another team cleared the rear alcove. When the firing stopped, the command room was in U.S. hands. Delta then took the hardest hit from outside reinforcements. 26 Iranian forces came over the East Road in 6 vehicles. They had 2 PKM machine guns and 3 RPG-7 launchers. Delta held fire until 140 M. Then both M240BS opened. The lead vehicle swerved into a ditch. The second stopped sideways and blocked the road. An A-10 came in low and raked the last 4 vehicles. The road filled with smoke. Delta counted 18 Iranian forces down in less than 1 minute. The rest ran into the rocks and were captured 9 minutes later. At 5:38, the primary objective was almost secure. Charlie found the missile guidance vault behind a second door. The keypad lock still worked. A breacher cut the hinges with a shaped charge. Inside were firing codes, 12 missile guidance sets, 7 encrypted radios and 3 hard drives. Rangers packed what they could carry and smashed the rest with thermite. Above ground, Alpha marked 4 missile launch rails and 2 radar trailers. The A-10s destroyed all 6 with guided bombs and gun passes. The last organized Iranian resistance came from the North Barracks. 32 Iranian forces tried to retake the bunker with AK-74 rifles and 1 DSHK on a truck bed. Bravo and Delta caught them in a crossfire. Charlie came out of the bunker and joined in. The truck turned to flee. A hellfire hit it before it cleared the yard. The rest of the force broke apart. Some ran toward the pier. Some ran uphill. 21 were killed in the open. 11 threw down their weapons and surrendered. By 5:42 the site was seized. The radar hill was down. The bunker was clear. The pier was burning. Every fast attack boat on the island was destroyed. Rangers pulled 26 crates of missile parts, the guidance sets, paper maps, code sheets, and encrypted radios into the landing zone. They planted charges on the fuel dump, the remaining launch canisters, and the bunker generator room. When the last team cleared 120 M, the charges detonated together. The fuel dump burned first, then the generator room blew. The bunker mouth collapsed under falling concrete. The extraction started at 5:47. 6 MH-60 helicopters lifted Charlie and the captured material first. Bravo moved the wounded to the boats. Alpha and Delta stayed back 11 minutes as rear security. Iranian reinforcements from the mainland finally entered the area at 5:58 in 9 boats and 2 helicopters, but they were too late. A U.S. Navy destroyer fired 2 SM-2 missiles and destroyed both helicopters over open water. The boats kept coming until the A-10s rolled in again. 2 sank near the headland. 3 turned back after heavy damage. 4 reached the outer island rocks and stopped when phalanx CIWS fire from the destroyer cut the water around them. By 6:10 in the morning, every U.S. aircraft and boat was clear of the island. The joint force lost 4 U.S. Army Rangers killed and 9 wounded. 1 A-10 took heavy damage from ground fire, but made it back to base. Iranian forces lost 96 killed, 54 wounded, and 41 captured. U.S. forces destroyed 6 fast attack boats, 12 anti-ship missiles, 3 Zu-23-2 guns, 8 DSHK heavy machine guns, 11 trench positions, 6 vehicles, 2 helicopters, 2 radar trailers, 1 radar tower, and the command bunker. The destroyed equipment and facilities totaled about $184 million. Iran believed Larak Island could close the Strait of Hormuz behind concrete, radar, and missile fire. What really happened was a 50-minute joint strike that broke the bunker, burned the pier, and opened the waterway before sunrise. Iranian forces had radar, bunkers, boats, and missiles. What they did not have was 72 U.S. Army Rangers and 8 A-10 Warthogs ready to tear the whole system apart in less than 1 hour.